1 second. There are so many things that I have to remember to do. I'm a one-man operation here, and I've got switches and, well, here's my desktop. My audio interface, which I really like, the Apollo Twin X. Here's my drink. Here's my coffee. Look what I got here. This is a new edition. I'll answer that later. That's the new edition. Of course, I have all the regular things, keyboards and mice. I got my iPhone over here, but I have to switch other things on and off. I have, for example, what is that? One of those, what is that called? Little snitch. I have to make sure that's off. So we got hello from Abu Dhabi. And then Jason Williams says, love the rotary phone. I love this phone too. I have had this phone for a long time. This one is from Westminster, Maryland, when I lived up there. But it actually still works on the current system, believe it or not. I love this thing. I had a phone number when I was a kid. It was Juniper 98988, and everybody used to complain because it took so long to dial my number when I was a kid. I remember that was in Silver Spring, Maryland. So what's going on, everyone? It's been a very slow Final Cut Pro News summer, as you might expect. I expected that they would not, if they didn't do anything around WWDC or Final Cut Pro's birthday, that they would not release something over the summer. And of course, that's come to be. Now, one of the things I'm going to mention, I had this one issue where I disconnected a couple weeks ago when I was doing a live stream. So if it disconnects, just stay where you are and I will reconnect. It'll show a new stream. A new stream will be coming up. So just so you're aware of that, I'll just have to reconnect. It worked last time, but I don't know why, I just disconnected this internet or whatever. Tangier Clark says, Richard, I bought that HDMI adapter for streaming you talked about. Works perfect and is cheaper than Elgato. It's not 4K, though. That's correct. It's not 4K. And what he is talking about, I have it right here. This is the very inexpensive one. I've seen it for as cheap as $15, HDMI in, USB out. I've seen it for as cheap as $15. It works, but it's only HD. It's only HD. It's not 4K, which is fine. I stream in 1080p anyway. That's the one that I tested out and I tried it out. However, this is the main one that I use, the Elgato Camlink 4K. Now, I just recently this is my second one. I bought a second one because I saw it on Amazon for $116. Normally it's $129. So I figured I'd pick up a second one just for a spare. So I still have this one, this Camlink 4K, but I'm actually streaming on a Camlink 4K right now. So that's what's going on as far as streaming goes. He said, correction, it can receive 4K, but outputs 1080p. Okay, there you go. $33. I think last time I bought it, I paid $29. I actually bought it for $40-some originally a couple months ago, and I tried it out. Then I saw it for $29, so I sent that one back and got the $29 one. They're exactly the same. I've seen it as cheap as $14 or $15. So, what do we have going on today? One of the things that we have is there's been the first, Tim Cook announced that the new Intels would be coming out. Well, the first one has come out. First one has come out. Oh, we got to do that too, don't we? Let's do that real quick. Checking on Final Cut Pro Radio HQ. There's the backyard. It's kind of a little bit overcast today, but it is sunny out. It is sunny. I don't see any birds in the bird feeder. Anyway, so the first Intel Macs in the pipeline, Tim Cook was so excited about. The new iMac. It's a brand new Intel iMac. Right? It looks like a beast of a machine, especially for right now. If you need to buy a machine right now, this looks like a good option to be buying. It'll be the last Intel iMac that Apple puts out, apparently, from what they say, as long as the ARM transition goes smoothly, which we hope it does, right? We certainly hope it does. So let's take a look at that real quick. Let's take a look at that. I'm going to go back there. Switch that off. Let's go. Here we go. So this is the new 27-inch iMac. They've changed to have SSDs across all of their lines. Well, I wouldn't buy anything but an SSD nowadays, period. I had a Fusion drive at one point, but I don't even buy them anymore, so it's a good thing. Stunning 5K display, higher quality cameras, speakers, and mics. That's what they're saying, studio quality mics. And then what else do we have new? So I guess the iMac is the second most popular Mac. The MacBook Pro, the 16 inches, by far the most popular. So Tangier says, I'm torn on waiting. The ARM technology looks promising. However, I take issue with the iPad Pro being able to best the more expensive Mac Pro working with HEVC 8K video. If you watch the Mac Pro videos that have all this 8K footage in a multicam timeline, one after the other, and plays back their videos, the iPad's not going to do that nonsense. That's just, of course, you can pick and choose, cherry pick something that'll do one specific thing, maybe faster. But you have to remember that the iPad is not running Mac OS. The iPad is running iPad OS. There's a big difference between running iPad OS and Mac OS. It's like the 2013 Mac Pro again. Great, but it's lacking quick sync, which is needed to stay and getting content out quickly. Yeah. Here's the deal. If you need a Mac now, I would get the iMac or Mac Pro, one or the other. The Mac Pro, the CPU is socketed. So the Mac Pro CPU can be changed, swapped out for a future one, if the motherboard supports it, obviously. But people have bought the cheap 8-core Mac Pro and then swapped it out for the 24 or 32 core, whatever they have, and it's worked fine. So it does work. So a future CPU is possible? Don't know. The Mac Pro has everything that I need, plus. There's more room for more RAM. I've got 4 or 5 PCIe slots open for future graphics cards if people want to, if they come out with new ones. And so I'm fine for years with my Mac Pro. Now, I am going to be buying a new Mac at some point. It'll probably be the 16-inch MacBook Pro. And at this point going forward, I'll be waiting for an ARM version of whatever I buy. I'm not going to be buying an iMac. I don't need an iMac. I got my Mac Pro. But if I decide to trade, I have a 2019 MacBook Pro. If I decide to trade that in, I will wait for the ARM. Now, here's a couple of things. On paper, there's certain specs, but when it gets in the real world is when I'll be looking at. So if I'll be waiting, I'm not going to buy it on day one when it comes out. I'll be waiting to see what the tests are, the speed test and other things. It's not just about speed on paper. That's only one area. So that's the Mac Pro. It still only has 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports. In 2020, I can't believe they only have 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports on the back of that thing. That's one of the biggest pain in the butts for me. I have 8 on my Mac Pro. So I'm not using all 8, but I'm using 4, 5, or 6 of them. I have Thunderbolt RAIDs. I have Thunderbolt docks. I can charge my iPhone and things. I have this audio interface as Thunderbolt. This is USB. This is Thunderbolt, though. I have there's another interface here. This is a USB interface. This is kind of my main interface that I use for system audio. This is specifically for my microphone that I'm talking through right now. This is just for the microphone. This is for my system audio. So I feed this into, right here, it goes into this, and this audio is what feeds this stream. So what are you going to do for your next Mac? Are you going to wait for ARM, or are you going to buy an Intel that's available now? I mean, from what I understand, the 2020 MacBook Pro is pretty incredible. I think it's the same as the 2019, but I think it's been pretty incredible. What do you think? What are you planning on doing? One of the things that people, let me just pull this up real quick. One of the things that people, when they say they're going to be buying a Mac Pro or whatever, is it depends on their buying cycle. If they just bought a 2019 or a 2020 MacBook Pro, they're probably not going to be jumping in and buying a ARM-based MacBook Pro as soon as it comes out. When a new Mac comes out as an ARM-based Mac, what percentage of people do you think are going to jump on that first version and buy it within a week? 5%, 10%? Maybe like the MacBook Pro, maybe 15%. Well, that means the rest of the people are still on their older machines, on their Intel. I shouldn't say older, just Intel. Which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So we have another comment here from Marcel. He says, my next purchase is going to be, my desktop is a 2013 Mac Pro. I think my next purchase is going to be an upgrade from that. So what are you thinking of? Are you going to get an iMac, or are you going to get a Mac Pro? Are you going to get a MacBook Pro? So I'm going to be getting a MacBook Pro, like I said, and I'll wait till the ARM version comes. I don't need one. I don't use it that often. But when I do, the one I have now is more than enough. I don't edit video on it. I have a Mac Pro and I have a 34-inch LG monitor. Why would I edit on a Mac Pro? I don't need it. If I was going to be mobile, yes, I would do that. But I don't use it for editing. I use it for email and a couple of other things. Agreed. Much rather have the Mac Pro, although the Halo computer should not be tested by lesser computer for anything. Mac Tech channel goes deeply into the ARM architecture and performance. Yeah, well, this is all on paper at this point. I mean, we don't have a Mac Pro. What do you think the first ARM-based Mac Pro is going to be? I keep saying it's going to be the Mac Mini because they already have it running on the Mac Mini. They already gave the Mac Mini with the ARM-based processor. It's already out. The developers already have it. Now it's the old processor. They're going to have a new processor out for whatever they're going to have, but it might be a MacBook or a MacBook Pro. Could be either one. Marcel says, thinking of a Mac Pro. I love my Mac Pro. It's fantastic. Waiting as long as I have to not choose to wait on purpose. I'm trying to be ready for one, if not the first ARM Mac to be released, all things working in my favor. However, I did just pick up a OWC SSD drive with case specific to MacBook Pro OEM for safekeeping. I am thinking of building a Hackintosh to bridge until an ARM Mac Pro is out. I don't have any problem with if you build a Hackintosh, but I just don't have the patience for it anymore. I mean, there's so many things that can go wrong, and you know, with those. People have, if you're really into tinkering, you have success. But the thing is, I don't need one, so I'm not in any hurry. I do not need a new Mac right now. So it still only has 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports. I can't believe they put an iMac out with only 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports. That drives me crazy. That's one of the reasons I would not get one. So what's going to be the next Intel? Tim Cook said we have Intel Macs, plural. What's going to be the next one? What do you think it's going to be? A MacBook Pro. That's what I'm thinking. That's the most popular. The iMac is very popular, and then the MacBook Pro is second most popular. So rather than make people wait for the MacBook Pro ARM version, they're going to release, I think, a MacBook Pro Intel version, which is probably ready now. Tangier says, I think the Mac Mini will get ARM first, then using my 2013 Mac Pro. Until then, although I send content to my 2016 MacBook Pro with QuickSync for transcoding, which I think is unfortunate to have to do that. Yes. Man Cave Production says MacBook Pro is what he thinks is going to be the next Intel. All right. So the first ARM-based Mac for 2020. Mac Mini is a good choice. Some level of MacBook. It's not going to be a high-end Pro machine. That's not going to happen. There's much more complex than that. The high-end Pro machines have to deal with all kinds of things. So I think it'll be the Mac Mini or some MacBook or MacBook Pro. FCPX tips. We have a few of those. We'll get back to those in a minute. First, let's check. Let me see. Let's check on. Let's see if there's anything in the Apple newsroom about Final Cut Pro. They have a lot of things popping up here. So Phil Schiller advances to Apple Fellow. I'm not sure what that means. I guess it's an advance, but it may explain why he wasn't at WWDC. Right? And we got these. Here's a 27-inch iMac, more attention. Oprah comes to whatever. Apple reports third quarter results. Apple Central opens Thailand Friday. John Lewis. Apple commits to carbon net neutrality. All kinds of neat stuff here. Let's look at anything for Final Cut Pro. Nope, not yet. iPad OS. Big Sur. What the heck's going on with Big Sur? Right? It's supposed to be out in July. Not out yet. iPad OS. View archive. Lots of things here. Here we go. Something for the pro apps, right? Logic Pro. Absolutely. Absolutely. But no, nothing about Final Cut Pro. You have to go back almost a year to get anything about Final Cut Pro. Co-Punk says, hello. Tangier Clark, when do you think we'll get another Final Cut Pro X update? Final Cut Pro 10, Final Cut Pro X. When do we think we'll get another Final Cut Pro 10 update? Telephone. Hello. Tim Cook? Yes, I'll hold for Tim Cook. Hello, Mr. Cook. How you doing? We just got a question on when there's going to be another Final Cut Pro 10 update. It's coming? You're waiting on Big Sur? Oh, that's interesting. So that's one of the things that you're waiting on is Big Sur. Well, I'm not sure. We kind of wish we had it over the summertime, but I guess that's not happening. No, have to wait on Big Sur. And then maybe we'll be blessed with the new Final Cut Pro update at that point. Okay, Mr. Cook, please feel free to call anytime you'd like and give us Final Cut Pro news. We appreciate that. Thank you, sir. There you have it from Tim Cook himself. Not really, of course, just a joke. Just a joke. For all of you, just in case you didn't realize, that was just a joke. That was not really. That was not really Tim Cook. Although I have absolutely talked to Steve Jobs' office before. They have called me on more than one occasion back when he was alive. New iMac 2020. So there you go. So there we go. We got the official word. It's coming out when Big Sur comes out. That's when we'll see it. I'm always waiting for the next event for Final Cut Pro to be updated. Okay, started with the Creative Summit last year. Thought that would be a good time at least to preview it, something. Nope, nothing, zero. Okay, when's the next time? The next time would be NAB. Well, NAB got canceled. Then Logic Pro 10 came out, right? Logic Pro 10 came out on May the 12th, 2020. I said, okay, this is fantastic. 10.5, Logic Pro 10.5 came out on May the 12th. I said, well, that means that they're going to, Final Cut Pro 10.5 is going to come out, right? It just makes sense. In the Logic Pro 10.5 release notes, there's a reference to FCPX 1.9. That doesn't exist. FCPX 1.9 does not exist. Final Cut Pro 10.4.8 only exports Final Cut Pro XML 1.8. So at that point, I think they were going to release a version of Final Cut Pro 10.5, and they decided not to. They decided to make us wait. Wait. Right? Wait, and more wait. Just checking something here. So one of the things that I'm doing is, here we go, FCPRadio.com. Final Cut Pro 10.4 is almost 32 months old. It's very likely that Final Cut Pro 10.4 is going to reach 3 years, close to 3 years before we see 10.5 or the next version. So it must be huge. It must be huge. If it's not huge, I would say they're going to look at the same response that they had when Final Cut Pro replaced Final Cut Pro 7. And it would be well deserved at that point. Let's see. Final Cut Pro tips. How to submit Final Cut Pro feedback. One of the things you want to remember when submitting Final Cut Pro feedback is be as specific as possible. Go into granular detail. You're talking to people that develop Final Cut Pro 10, right? The more details, the better. A screen recording can be very beneficial to the team, right? Yes, can be. One of the places, let me just check this out. I'm going to pull this up. So if you go to FCPX.TV, it's very easy to remember, FCPX.TV. Right here, send your feedback, request for feedback to the Final Cut Pro team here. Just click on that. It goes right to the place where you submit Final Cut Pro feedback. You send all your information, name, address, all that stuff. Comments. This field actually expands. Right? It does. It expands. So Christopher asks, what technologies are being added to Big Sur that could be upgraded for Final Cut Pro X? I think there's a combination of things. I think they were going to release Final Cut Pro 10.5 right when they released Logic Pro 10.5, around the same time period, right before, right around WWDC. Then they got Big Sur. Then they had problems with Catalina. Then they have the transition to ARM and a bunch of other events all came together at the same time, and they said, look, rather than deal with all these separate issues one at a time, let's just wait for Big Sur. I've heard that there's problems with Catalina and Final Cut Pro. I've heard it for months and months and months. 6 months, 7 months, 8 months. I'm running Catalina. I haven't seen any problems myself, but I'm not making a film with it. I think there's problems with Catalina that Big Sur perhaps solve. That's what I think. I don't know about features per se. Perhaps. Any more details on the new version? Well, just what they showed us at the WWDC. Will this have an impact on updating workflow for larger businesses using Final Cut Pro? Yes, it will. Of course it will. Businesses are not going to just run out and get Big Sur immediately. I'm not. I mean, I have it. I'm going to run a beta of Big Sur. Where is the beta of Big Sur? They said at WWDC in June it'd be out next month. That was July. Now it's August. We're almost the first week of August. So I'm not going to run Big Sur on my main machine, but I just want to try it out. I have a Thunderbolt 3 drive ready to go. It's partitioned, ready to install the Big Sur beta. I don't think it's out yet. Is it out today? I'm just going to check. I don't think it's out. Let's just check. Where is it? There we go. Software update. So So let me see, system preferences. So here is, this will pop up in a second. That'll say I'm with the beta. It'll pop up here in a second. I'm registered with the beta. There you go. So this Mac is enrolled in the Apple beta software program. This is the public beta. It's not the private developer beta. Look, it is out. Public Big Sur beta. It is out. Finally. So I'm not going to do that now. Finally, more info. Finally, finally, it's out. Look at that. Came out when we were on talking on Final Cut Pro Radio. Coming this fall, watch the keynote. So I'm going to go ahead and download that once I'm not going to do it now. Should I do it now in the middle of this live broadcast? What do you think? Should I do it and see if it works and we don't get cut off? I don't think so. So here we go. So Christopher says, will the impact on updating workflows? Yes. Anything big like this, Final Cut Pro 10.5, or if they call it whatever they call it, 11 or whatever, in Big Sur always have a big effect on businesses. Businesses have to be very cautious. I'm not going to update my Mac Pro. I'm not going to update it with the beta. I'm going to update it on a separate machine. Tangier Clark's, I hope it's used. A lot of Premiere Pro editors are starting to look towards using DaVinci Resolve and bypassing Final Cut Pro. Now, there's comments about that, of course. Eric Emmerich, clearly there's enough that's different about Big Sur, which impacts the new features of Final Cut Pro 10.5, driving the wait time. If they release Final Cut Pro before that, it'll be a head scratcher. Yeah, I don't think they're going to release it in August. I'd be shocked. But I mean, why did they make us wait 32 months, 33 months, 34 months? They could have released a version of Final Cut Pro with new features anytime over the last year. They could have done it at the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit. A limited edition. They could have given us a preview. They chose not to do it. So, with all these issues, FCPX might be a complete rewrite of the software. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's a complete rewrite. The only other time that was anywhere close to 32 months was 10.0 to 10.1, and that was a rewrite. If you remember, in 10.0, they had the project library. They had separate events and projects, separate folders. I used to drive me crazy. Let's see what we got. Public beta is out now, isn't it? Yes, it just came out. Or it came out, I didn't notice it yesterday, so I presume it just came out. It's out. I'm going to do it when I get done. Yesterday, he said. It came out yesterday. Okay, because I didn't check yesterday. Back up. I'm not going to run it on my main machine. Absolutely not. He says, why not? Why not? Just run risky. Well, I'll do it right now in the middle of this live stream. How would that be? Hot swap update up on the fly, because it's Apple. Yeah, the Big Sur update is mid-September. Apple has announced there's going to be a delay in getting iPhones out this year. They've already announced that at their business meeting, stockholders meeting, whatever the heck it was, recently. Of course. There's Final Cut Pro Radio HQ backyard view. It's a beautiful day today. It's only 78 degrees. Very, very cool for this area for August. Across the street from me, they are doing a septic tank reinstall. Absolutely incredible. Let me see if I can pull that up. Let me see if I can show you this on my phone. I don't know if this is going to work or not. So across the street, they're doing it's a John Deere 410 backhoe. I used to run one of those when I was in construction. I did highway construction when I was a youngster. And they're putting in a brand new septic tank across the street. They're getting the house ready for sale. And that thing is gigantic. That septic tank is probably about 10 or 12 feet long. I was shocked how big it was. Shocked, I tell you. So let's see what else we have here. All kinds of neat stuff. So we had some rain here recently. We had some kind of a hurricane. Christopher says Big Sur releases mid-September. Number one, it has to be bulletproof and that will not crash. Well, that's what beta's for, but it will crash. Of course it will crash, but hopefully less after it goes through the beta stage. Not sure how I feel with iOS-like interface on my Pro Mac. Yeah, I know. They're not merging iOS and macOS, that's for sure. They've told us many, many times they're not doing that, but the interfaces are getting more similar. So one thing I do, all the birds left to install Big Sur. There you go. Where's the leach field? The leach field for my neighbor is going to be reused, so they didn't dig that up. They did not dig that up. When you went to the Creative Summit, did the team say they input ideas from the feedback page? Absolutely. Absolutely. Every submission is read. Every single one. They have at least one full-time person reading those submissions daily. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to implement every one of your suggestions. It would be a big mess, wouldn't it, if they did that? But they do read every single one. It's like any business. If you had a business and you had a page for people to submit, customers to submit suggestions, to submit bug reports, to submit complaints, features, you would prioritize them, right? You'd place them in a hierarchy. The more something gets mentioned, the higher up it goes in the hierarchy. But that's not the only criteria. The other criteria is if it fits in with their vision of what the company does, in this case, Final Cut Pro. By the way, I got a new iPad Air, and I love the pencil. The iPad Air is right here, but I love the pencil. I'd never used one before, and I love it. Here's my iPad Air, brand new, the 2019 version. And I love this pencil. I got the iPad Air because I sold my old one to my girlfriend. She wanted her other one cracked. So I sold her my new one for $150, something like that. And I bought this new one for like $550. Was it $550? $650? Oh, it was $100 off. That's what it was. It's $650 normally. It's got the 256 gigabytes. It was $550 one day because Best Buy had a sale, $100 off. So I said, what the heck? I'll buy it. So I sold my other one for $150. So it ended up costing me $400. He says, Jason Williams says, I'm waiting on my Apple Pencil 2. This is the Apple Pencil 1, of course. The Apple Pencil 2 only works on the iPad Pro, I believe. Oh, look at this. So now I'm excited. Big Sur, I can finally download that. See what's going on there. Every submission is read. One of the submissions that they've been getting a lot at is better audio tools. Yes, absolutely. Better audio tools are coming into the next version of Final Cut Pro. It's a no-brainer. It's been 9 years and they still don't have a mixer or master fader and buses and stuff. I don't know exactly how they're going to incorporate it. That one video from last week was really cool. It looked pretty cool. So we'll see if that's what happens. But yes, better audio is coming to Final Cut Pro 10. Now, I don't know if they're going to call it Final Cut Pro 10.5 or Final Cut Pro 11. Who the heck knows? It's been so long that maybe it's a brand new version. Don't know. Inscribed with Apple rules on it. That's your Apple Pencil 2. Very cool. So let's see what else. People keep talking about the... Well, actually, let me give you another tip. So if you have a... Well, not if you. Everybody has screens that they use. And they get dirty. Even if it's not a touch screen, it still gets dirty. So I have two products. One I could recommend because I've been using it for a long time. And one I just got. This is what they call Screen Mom. It's on Amazon. It works really, really well for cleaning iPhone screens, your laptop screens, also my LG screen. I clean that with it. It's called Screen Mom. It comes with a nice cloth. Spray it on the cloth and then clean your device. This is really good. I really, really like it. I have a couple of bottles. Natural screen cleaner. That's one of the tips. Now, I recently bought this Whoosh Screen Shine. I have not tried it yet, so I can't recommend it. It also comes with a very cool cloth. It's a nice microfiber cloth. But I read somebody from Macworld or somebody said that they recommended this because they use it in the Apple stores. This is another one. So that's another tip for cleaning your screen. Of course, make sure the machine's turned off. Make sure you don't have any liquid that goes in your screen. Don't spray the screen directly. Never, never, never do that. Make sure you just spray the cloth. Make sure it's not too wet. Clean your screen and then dry it immediately off. Eric Emmerich says, using Resolve on latest short film edit, like everything except the edit page. Fairlight is great. Listen, if I wasn't using Final Cut Pro 10, I would be using Resolve. I'd be using a combination of Resolve, and I also would be using LumaFusion. Where is that? That's one of the reasons that I got the pencil and I got the iPad Pro. Touch ID. There we go. So that's one of the reasons I got the pencil and the iPad, not the iPad Pro, the iPad Air. It's exactly one of the reasons was to use the pencil with LumaFusion. I love this. I love being able to just touch and drag things and take it around. And this is actually a little video from the Creative Summit a couple years ago. But you can do edits, of course, on this. But you can just touch clips You can, of course, play Happy Birthday. That was back, I don't know how I got there. I got to, what the heck is that? Wow, there we go. There's a happy birthday to a guy that's like 90-some years old, 99 years old, local. So this is the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit. This is the dinner, but I love using this pencil. I just really, really like that. I find it much easier than doing this. So I can't wait for the future version of LumaFusion to be on the iPad. I mean, of course, on the Mac. It's coming to the Mac because iPadOS, iOS apps will be run on the future on the ARM version of Mac OS on any Mac that has ARM, not the iPad. Microfiber cloth. I needed one since I got my new glasses with my special lens coating, especially for my eyes and very weak. Pretty cool. I use that screen mom on my eyeglasses as well. I have 2 pairs of the same ones. Do you think there will be a big update to Motion? I hope so. I hope so. The thing about Motion is it's never kept up with Final Cut Pro updates. It's just been small little increments, where Final Cut Pro gets the big updates, but it hasn't for 32 months. It got one. In the last 32 months, it got 10.4.4, which was a big feature update. Okay? That was a big feature update, but that's 18 months ago, 19 months ago, something like that. Me too about LumaFusion. The LumaFusion FX app is cool also, absolutely. It works fantastic on the Air. It works, it's just very, very seamless. I mean, smooth, just very smooth. I got the 256 gigabyte iPad this time. The last time I had 64. So I can put some stuff on the iPad. I mean, the thing is, LumaFusion is exciting to me because it's new and I can use the pencil on it. I don't use it for everything. I still use keyboard shortcuts and stuff, but I really like that pencil. I just like physically dragging things around on the screen with the pencil. It's much more precise than using your finger for touch. So one of the neat things when I first got the iPad Air, I use electronic signatures in Preview when I sign documents. I had a signature saved. So I went and I said, well, I can sign on the iPad. I wonder if I can save that in Preview. Yes, you can. You absolutely can. This was very, very cool that I found out. Let me just open up a document, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let me see what I have here in Open Recent. Oh, well, let's open up this one then instead. We might as well open up this one. This is what I've been doing for the last couple of days. Look at this. I was digitizing SVHS footage. This is me. I was digitizing SVHS footage in Final Cut Pro. Take that down just a little bit. Final Cut Pro 7 with a Key Pro IOHD. It took me a while to get the right combination, but in any way, that's not what I wanted to show you right now. But anyway, I did that yesterday. It was quite an experience. But here, if you go to Markup and go to Signature, create Signature, select Device, and you can choose your iPad to do a signature on, and it'll save it in Preview. Now, once again, the iPad is separate, but it'll save it in preview on the Mac, and I've done that with these signatures. That's amazing that works that way, but it does. Because I can write very nice signature with the pencil rather than with my finger, trying to do it with my finger. So anyway, yeah, I'm working on this documentary. I found this 1996 an interview I did with this band called Go to Blazes, and I went on YouTube and I couldn't find any of their music on YouTube, so I said, I think I have some. I went back and found it. I have 2 hours of them that I filmed in 1996, live performance footage, and I did about a 46-minute interview, sit-down interview with them. So I digitized that. It looked just like voodoo nowadays. I had to go back to Mac OS 10.8.5, which is Snow Leopard? No. Mountain, I forget what it was, Mountain Lion, whatever the heck it was. And then I had to get the drivers from AJA. They still had the drivers up. Then I had to install that. Then I had to get the Firewire because I did it on my old Mac Pro, my 3.1 at Mac Pro. Then I had to get Final Cut Pro 7.0.3 reinstalled, and I installed that. It was a fiasco. And then I started doing testing, different codecs and stuff. And I was disappointed. I tried to use ProRes, regular quality. It came out horrible. I'm not sure what the problem was. It didn't look horrible when I was digitizing, but afterwards it was. So here's something else I want to talk about. Let's do this. Is it Final Cut Pro or is it Final Cut Pro X? Now look at this page, Final Cut Pro X release notes. Final Cut Pro X, Final Cut Pro X, Final Cut Pro X, Final Cut Pro X. Then in the same paragraph, they switch from Final Cut Pro X to just Final Cut Pro, new in Final Cut Pro, using Final Cut Pro. Now, is it Final Cut Pro X? I'm saying X. I know it's 10. I know the X is supposed to be a Roman numeral. I went to Catholic school and we had Roman numerals, but most people say X. So I'm just going to say X. I know it's 10. Final Cut Pro X, 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 no X, no X, no X. Which one is it? This is ridiculous. You can't decide on which one to call it. Call it Final Cut Pro or call it Final Cut Pro X/10. Make up your mind. Make up your mind, Apple. So Mac OS is no longer Mac OS X. The X is dead. 10, whatever. I like X. X makes more sense to me, and most people will read it as X. But that's not the point. The point is either keep it or drop it. Now, if they're going to call it Final Cut Pro 11, is it going to be XI? Which is the Roman numeral for Final Cut Pro 11? No, it's not. That would be ridiculous. They're going to call it Final Cut Pro 11. What else do we have before we finish up for the day? So listen, one of the things I'm doing, I'm trying to just keep the conversation going with Final Cut Pro for the summer. It's very, very slow. August is probably one of the worst months for anything new to come out, so I don't expect anything new. September, perhaps. But we don't know. I'm going to presume they're going to call it Final Cut Pro 10.5. I'm going to presume that. I don't know for a fact, but it seems logical to me. So there's that. Here's what the IOHD looks like, in case you're not familiar with it. It has all these ports on the back, analog ports, analog ports, analog ports, connected via Firewire, HDMI, Firewire, and this is the front panel. It's an old device, doesn't work anymore with the current OS. Does not work with the current OS. Here we are, Final Cut Pro Radio HQ. I don't think there's anything going on in the backyard, but it's nice and sunny, isn't it? One of the things that I do in the wintertime and the fall coming up is I do a lot of leaf raking. I have 30 Tangier says, wow, that IOHD takes me back to my Blackmagic Decklink days. Christopher says, Final Cut Pro 10, Final Cut 10.5, sure, more reminiscent of the tired and true version 7. Yes, that's true. So I really hope that this long delay, 32 months since 10.4 came out, is well worth the update. I hope they don't just sprinkle a couple of little things on Final Cut Pro 10. Says, here's 10.5. Here's 10.5. We're going to sprinkle a couple of this fairy dust on here. Here's 10.5. No. You better have a whole entire new bunch of features and long requested features that editors want, the nuts and bolts that editors need. That's what we need in Final Cut Pro 10.5. Let's see what else we have. All right, let's go back, finish up here. Yes, better audio is coming to Final Cut Pro 10, mixer fader, buses, etc. Absolutely. You guys are not being nice. We added more 3D fonts. Yeah, that's all we need. More 3D fonts. I'll need more than additional 3D text updates. Perhaps they're implementing a more robust database structure. I hope they're doing something like that. Absolutely. I mean, to be honest with you, I hope so. I don't want to have to be defending Final Cut Pro, nor would I defend it if I thought it wasn't a good update. I will not do that. I'll let them take lumps as they may, but I completely expect the Final Cut Pro team listens to this broadcast. If you have anything you want to say to them, say it now before I sign off. They absolutely listen. I know they do. But the Final Cut Pro team is the best. Those guys and gals, there's a whole bunch of them, are fantastic. Just get us the update. Stop moseying and making excuses why you can't have it out, and just get it out. They could have they could have had an Intel version when Logic Pro 10 came out. They could have called it 10.4.9 or whatever they wanted to call it, and gave us something over the summer, but they chose not to do that. So now I got to get off here, and I'm going to install Big Sur Beta. I'm going to presume I have the option of installing it on an external hard drive when I download it. That's what I presume. There we go. No more phone calls from Tim Cook came in today. Grapher usage? I'm not sure what that means, Jason. Not sure what you mean there. Explain yourself. I wish Apple had a better educational presence to help Final Cut Pro along. Adobe has a deep educational presence that schools love for licensing. Well, Adobe has Photoshop. If you get Photoshop, everything else is free. Premiere is free, whatever. So that makes complete sense. I had to teach, I taught a what's the right word? Agnostic film class at Carroll Community College, and they used Premiere because they had it, although I would bring in Final Cut Pro on, did I bring in my Mac Pro at the time? I might have brought a G4 Mac Pro to show the students how Final Cut Pro operated, and I would do the same now. So Resolve is, listen, Resolve, Blackmagic is a fantastic company. They came out with a 12K camera. They invented their own sensor so they could do that. It shoots only B-RAW. Fantastic. Then now they have the entire pipeline. They go from the sensor to the camera, out to the software. It's an entire pipeline you stay in Blackmagic. I am very, very impressed with them. So I had to use Resolve for batch syncing, off-camera sound, Pluralize failed, and Final Cut Pro can't do it. I think Final Cut Pro can do something with batch, right? Batch syncing. I thought it did. One moment, I'm gathering my book for reference. Okay. A light version for iOS to do rough cuts and simple edits, maybe social media round trips through the Pro desktop version as available on the iPad Pro. Well, they have iMovie. I guess they could make that better. And let me see something here. So Eric says nope for batch syncing. Okay. I guess you do one clip at a time. Resolve is great, but I don't want to go back to tracks. Need a lot of money, though. Need a lot of memory, though. Hoping ARM really widens the performance gap in a compelling way. Absolutely. Christopher says, love Pluralize, saved me hours. Apparently it didn't work for Eric Emmerich. It's failed when he tried to use Pluralize. I don't know why that was. But anyway, I'm going to hopefully keep on coming on this Final Cut Pro Radio once a week to give everybody a chance to chime in. Tangier says, no batch in Final Cut Pro. I use LTC aux with Sync-A-Link to batch sync days of content in minutes. There you go. No batch is what he's talking about. No batch syncing. I understand. I understand completely. So we are waiting on Final Cut Pro 10, the Final Cut Pro team. We're waiting on Final Cut Pro 10.x, whatever you're going to call it, 10.5. We don't care. 32 months is long enough. 36 months is ridiculous. If you're going to go 36 months, just go on to 4 years. To heck with it. We don't need Final Cut Pro updated. Great fun. Have a great day. Same to you, Christopher. Thank you very much for tuning in, everyone. If there's no more questions, if you have anything to say to the Final Cut Pro team, say it now. They watch this broadcast. They watch every week. But anyway, I'm going to keep on going with Final Cut Pro Radio TV. Let me see if I got that to frames. Do I have it here? There we go. Final Cut Pro RTV Live. RTV stands for Richard Taylor TV. And I'm going to jump off here, install Big Sur beta, public beta, play around with that. But I'm going to try to continue to come on once a week, give everybody a chance to come on, leave your comments, talk to Final Cut Pro Talk. I'm not going to have 16 people dotted all around the screen. Everybody's trying to talk at once, and everybody's, I can't be bothered with that. Not interested. Installing my wife's MacBook Pro now. Until the next, bye from Blazing Hot Abu Dhabi. Is it blazing hot? It was blazing hot here too. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. This is a place you guys can come and vent. That's what I'm doing these for. That's why I like having everybody come and comment. I put the comments on the screen. You can read them. You can watch them in the live chat. But that's what I'm going to keep on doing. I'm planning on doing this once a week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Today's Friday. Yesterday I was working on Final Cut Pro 7, digitizing some SVHS footage for a new documentary I'm working on. So, here we go. Graph lets you create 2D and 3D graph and graphic work reminiscent of MC Escher to do the creative user. I love Escher. He's one of my favorite artists. Salvador Dali, MC Escher. And who's the guy that did all the splats through stuff on the screen with the paintbrush? And I like him a lot too. Forget what his name is. So anyway, everybody, my name's Richard Taylor. I guess I'm going to head out of here. Let me see if we got any more comments for the Final Cut Pro team. Just let them come in. Let them stop in. Oh, we got another phone call. Hello? Yes, I will wait for the Final Cut Pro team to talk to me. Hello, Final Cut Pro team. Everybody's waiting for Final Cut Pro, the next version of Final Cut Pro, 10.5, whatever's coming out. Can you give us an idea when it's coming out? 2020? That's the best you're going to do is 2020? It's not going to be in August, right? Not in August? Okay, well, we appreciate you guys and gals. We really appreciate everybody in the Final Cut Pro team. All the listeners are here. They're making their comments. Keep up the good work. Get Final Cut Pro 10.5. Is it called 10.5? Oh, you can't say. Okay. The next version of Final Cut, the next major update, you do realize it's been 32 months, right? You guys keep track of that? Because I do. 32 months since 10.4 came out. No comment? Okay, thanks. Anyway, everybody here appreciates you, guys and gals on the Final Cut Pro team. Stay tuned. Keep watching Final Cut Pro Radio TV Live. We'll be on hopefully once a week or so. Any breaking news, I'll come on. This is my upstairs studio. I'll come on fairly quickly. Okay. Thanks, Final Cut Pro team. All the listeners, all these listeners that are commenting, thank you. Thank you. Just get out Final Cut Pro when it's ready, but anytime it will be appreciated by the Final Cut Pro community. Thank you very much, guys and gals. Two phone calls from Apple today while we're live on the air. Two. One from Tim Cook and one from the Final Cut Pro team. So Eric Emmerich says, yeah, Pollock. Yep, Pollock. I love that guy. What was the guy that the movie of him was, forget what the guy's name is, but he's really good. He's also in Drizzle artist Jackson Pollock. There we go. Ask they watch version of Final Cut Pro 2. Yeah, we're not going to do that. That phone is awesome. That's an old phone. It's one of the ones that I've had. Ed Harris, that's what it was. Ed Harris. He's also in HBO. What is it called? That Western season 3 version of he's also in that. I got HBO just because of that. As a matter of fact, I have to cancel it because I just wanted to get it for that month. All right, everyone, I'm going to head out of here. My name's Richard Taylor. I'll be back next week. You can follow along on Twitter. Westworld. There we go. Westworld. That's it. I really like season 3. Season 3 is completely different than season 1 and season 2. Completely different. I really like it. It's very, they took a completely different turn. But anyway, I'll be back next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, between 11 and 1, typically is the time. I'll post it on Twitter. Casey Atkins says, thanks for everything you do. Thank you, Casey. I appreciate it. And I want to thank all the listeners for listening, for commenting all your stuff. You comment on Twitter and you comment here as well. And I do it, I enjoy Final Cut Pro. I enjoy talking about it, and I'm glad you all like it as well. So I'll be back. If anything happens dramatic, let me just check just to make sure there's no version of Final Cut snuck out on us while we were live. I have to check. Nope, still stuck at 10.4.8. Stuck at good old 10.4.8. Just double checking, still at 10.4.8. So thanks, everyone. I appreciate it. And this is Richard Taylor. I will see you next week, if not before. Thanks for tuning in.